These are the craziest, most wild quarterbacks in NFL history. You've seen mobile QBs, but you've never seen a 300-pound quarterback move like this. Meet Jared Lorenzen, the heaviest quarterback to ever step foot in the NFL. Standing at 6'4" and pushing 300 pounds, he looked like a defensive tackle. Therefore, nobody expected him to shatter Kentucky records with 10,000 passing yards and 78 touchdowns. His size made him go undrafted, but signed with the New York Giants. He hardly saw any playing time, but would find his way onto the field for QB sneaks, where New York would use his massive size to get a quick first down.
And Lorenzen just puts his head down and pushes the pile forward. He is the new Michael Vick, ladies and gentlemen.
But to keep his job, head coach Tom Coughlin forced him to stay under 300 pounds. Therefore, Lorenzen would have to go on these crazy crash diets just to meet the weight limit and avoid fines. Despite the constant battle with the scale, he spent 4 seasons as Eli Manning's backup. So when the Giants pulled off the greatest upset in NFL history against the undefeated Patriots, the Pillsbury Throwboy walked away with the Super Bowl ring. After the NFL, he became an indoor football legend, winning a league MVP in 2011 while weighing over 320 pounds. He was a cult hero who defined every prototype for a quarterback, but the years of heavy weight eventually took a toll on his health, leading to his tragic passing at just 38 years old in 2019. But what about a player who was the exact opposite, the smallest quarterback in modern NFL history? Well, that's Doug Flutie. Despite winning the Heisman and having one of the greatest throws in college football history, his 5'10", 185-pound stature was not popular among NFL teams. He fell all the way to the 11th round and only played 4 seasons in the NFL before no team wanted him at all. But then something crazy happened. He moved on to the CFL, where he would become their version of Tom Brady. And that's no joke. In 8 seasons there, he totaled over 330 total touchdowns, set the single season record for passing yards with over 6,600, won 6 MVPs, 3 championships, and 3 championship game MVPs. After dominating the CFL for years, everyone thought his NFL dream was dead. However, in 1998, at the age of 36, he returned to the Buffalo Bills for an improbable career resurgence. But his unique size meant he had to innovate to survive. He'd scramble around like a wild man, then literally jump to see over his monster lineman before firing darts. His wild, unconventional playstyle electrified the league and took the Bills to back-to-back playoffs. Therefore, he didn't just play. He brought Flutie magic every single Sunday. Flutie made the Pro Bowl and mentored future Hall of Famers like Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers, but his career-defining moment came in his final game, the impossible drop kick extra point, a feat not seen in the NFL for nearly 70 years. Doug Flutie proved that size doesn't matter when you have the heart, creativity, and pure magic. He was the ultimate underdog, and his crazy playstyle even has guys like Lamar Jackson still in amazement. But how did a 2-time national champ, a Heisman winner, become one of the most highly debated players in NFL history? Tim Tebow was insane in college. Fans loved his never say die attitude, but critics claimed his long, loopy throwing motion would never work in the pros. Therefore, every single start became a massive battle between the believers and the skeptics. Drafted in the first round, Tebow silenced the doubters by leading insane game-winning drives and even stunning the Steelers in a playoff thriller.
Got him at the 40. Different got him 3 to the 30, to the 20. Thomas to the 10. Difference going on the New England.
But despite his magic, his passing stats were bottom of the league. I mean, this guy was completing less than 50% of his passes. Because of that, his NFL career stalled in just 3 seasons. After years in minor league baseball, Tebow shocked the world in 2021 by attempting a comeback as a tight end for the Jaguars. Therefore, the media circus returned as everyone wondered if the ultimate athlete could finally master a new position at age 34. He suited up for 1 preseason game, but the transition was brutal. His blocking went viral for all the wrong reasons, and the speed of the game had clearly passed by him. Even with his former college coach Urban Meyer in his corner, he got cut after one game, ending his NFL journey for good. He was never the perfect pro, but he was a winner who proved that magic is real, even if it doesn't last forever. But this quarterback was willing to do whatever it took to get onto the football field, and he became one of the best players in the NFL because of it. Taysom Hill was an athletic freak in college, but brutal injuries destroyed his draft stock. Therefore, he had to fight for a spot on the Saints roster by throwing his body at returners on special teams.
It's not going to happen if this offense doesn't get going. The punt is blocked and is recovered.
By 2018, he became a true Swiss Army knife, playing 6 different positions just to stay on the field. But while other players would demand to be a pure QB, Hill told the coaches he'd do anything to help the team win. He would take a snap at quarterback, take a handoff at running back, run a route as a wide receiver, throw a block as a tight end, block a kick on the punt unit, and then return a kickoff on special teams. He was the true ultimate weapon. He eventually got his shot to start at quarterback, winning games and showing off his arm. But his success as a pure QB was not sustained, and his true value still lied in him being a Swiss Army knife player. In 2025, he made history as the only player in the Super Bowl era with 1,000 passing, rushing, and receiving yards in a career, becoming a fan favorite in NFL circles since he could literally do anything and was always someone to keep an eye on when he is out on the field. But imagine a player with the size of a defensive end and the speed of a track star. That was Cam Newton, the 6'6" powerhouse who made the NFL his personal playground. He wasn't just a QB, he was must-watch TV. From his iconic dab to his outrageous pregame outfits, Cam brought a flavor to the league we'd never seen before. Therefore, he became the ultimate fan favorite for an entire generation of football fans. He wasn't your traditional pocket passer. Cam used his 260-pound frame to run through defenders and his cannon arm to torch secondaries.
Got away from Ninkovich, dancing, gets away from Chandler Jones, setting up space. There goes Cam. Add to the highlight reel that one.
But his bold attitude and flashy style made him just as many haters as he had fans. Cam was never afraid to speak his mind, even if it meant being polarizing. He famously prioritized individual impact, once saying he wouldn't trade his MVP for a Super Bowl. Therefore, the media stayed focused on his every word, waiting for him to fail. But Cam always backed up the talk with a legendary play. In 2015, he carried the Panthers to a 15-1 record and won the MVP with an insane 45 total touchdowns. But even with all the individual glory, he always stayed true to himself, playing the game with a smile that lit up the stadium. Cam Newton changed the QB position forever. He was an icon who proved you could win big while being exactly who you are. This next guy was the first freshman to ever win the Heisman in a human highlight reel. Johnny Manziel wasn't just a player, he was a cultural phenomenon that took the world by storm. With elite instincts and an arm that could make every throw, fans thought that he was the future of the NFL. Therefore, the Cleveland Browns spent a first-round pick to bring Johnny Football to the big leagues. But the NFL is a job, not a frat party. Manziel's undersized frame and scramble for style worked in college, but it hit a brick wall against a pro defense. But the real disaster wasn't his size or his play style, it was his legendary lack of effort. While his teammates studied film, Johnny was busy in Las Vegas wearing disguises and partying until sunrise. His Browns iPad for his playbook literally showed 0 hours of usage. Therefore, his coaches lost all trust in him as he showed zero loyalty to the team that took a chance.
It's probably the end of what ended my, real chance of ever having an NFL career again. But I'm injured, dying in the snow and 4 degrees in Cleveland, and I was kind of like Rodman, but it's week 15. I need a break. I need to go. I'm exhausted from getting hit from every angle. So I had this whole thing planned out. Go out there in the morning, fly back at 11 o'clock at night. I'd already spent 7 hours in Vegas. There was a 0% chance I was getting on that flight to go back. At that point in time, thing I could think about the most was just turn your phone off and throw it in the drawer and wear a wig and go to Hakkasan and have a great time. I was really good until Hard Rock, blackjack table. I sit down, this guy just next to me sees me throw my ID out to get ID'd and like scoped it on the way going into the dealer's hands. He doesn't even say anything to me. He gets up and walks to all of his buddies over at like a roulette table. And then from there, it was like, I knew it too. I can feel it. It happened to be like a baseball reporter for MLB that sent this tweet out that was credible enough. And I remember, your first instinct is like, I'm not there. What are you talking about? Like,
you sent the dog picture out.
The dog picture on the carpet, Cleveland, Ohio, geotag.
After just 2 seasons of hangovers, horrible work ethic, and terrible on-field play, the Browns had seen enough and cut him. He went from a Heisman legend to out of the league before his 24th birthday. While his career was over, the Johnny Football brand is still talked about amongst fans, leaving behind the biggest what-if in draft history. Aaron Rodgers isn't just a 4-time MVP, a Super Bowl champ, and the king of the Hail Mary. He is also one of the most unconventional, mysterious, and out there superstars in NFL history. On the field, he's a machine. He seems to always be able to throw the perfect Hail Mary. He is always able to come up clutch no matter how little time is left on the clock. And he's played through fractured knees and even tried to return from a torn Achilles in the same season. Therefore, fans know that when number 12 is under center, no injury or deficit is too big to overcome. But off the field, Rodgers is a total wild card. He openly credits psychedelics like ayahuasca for his mental health, and he has even mastered the Jeopardy stage as a guest host. But while he's a genius on the field, his unconventional views has made him the league's biggest lightning rod. When Rodgers has a big decision to make, he doesn't just think about it. He locks himself in total darkness for 4 days to hallucinate and find his path. Therefore, the entire NFL world stays glued to his every move, whether it's him coming back for another season or running for vice president. From his vaccine skepticism to pharmaceutical industrial complex rants, Rodgers has embraced the title of a conspiracy theorist. But no matter how controversial his Tuesday afternoon interviews get, Rodgers' on-field magic might just be the only thing crazier than his thoughts. Baker Mayfield is one of the most fearless QBs in the game. He doesn't just play football, he starts a war every single Sunday. Baker always has a chip on his shoulder. In college, when Kansas players refused to shake his hand, he didn't just blow them out, he taunted their entire stadium, telling them to go back to cheering for basketball. Therefore, he entered the NFL with a reputation as the ultimate bad boy quarterback. On the field, Baker is a pure gunslinger. He'll make a head-scratching mistake one play, then fire a rocket into a window no other QB would even see. But while his all-or-nothing style scares some coaches, his teammates would run through a brick wall for him. He's literally insane. After a big win, Baker is famous for headbutting his massive offensive linemen while they have their helmets on, and he doesn't. Therefore, he's earned the respect of the locker room guys by being just as tough and maybe as crazy as the guy in the trenches.
In recent memory, Mayfield, oh, beautiful. There he is again. We saw this in Carolina. We did that Carolina-Atlanta game.
People tried to write him off after he bounced around 4 teams in 2 years, but Baker proved the doubters wrong in Tampa Bay, leading the Bucs to a division title and a playoff win while playing with more fire than ever. Baker Mayfield is the kind of player you love to have and hate to play against. He is a trash-talking, head-butting, playmaking machine who stays true to himself no matter what. But there may not be a crazier QB in the league right now than Phillip Rivers. Yeah, the fun-loving, chubby unk QB who never curses is the biggest lunatic out of any signal caller. Let's start with his throwing motion. Rivers has to have the most unique throwing motion in NFL history, a weird sidearm shot put style he developed as a kid, all because the footballs were too big for his grip. Therefore, even though it looked unconventional, he used that quick release to rack up over 63,000 passing yards. He was the ultimate Iron Man, never missing a single start in his career. In the 2007 playoffs, he actually tore his ACL, but refused to sit out the AFC Championship game against the undefeated Patriots. But despite playing on one leg, he still couldn't get the Chargers to the Super Bowl. After retiring in 2021 to coach high school football, Rivers did the unthinkable. At 44 years old, he came out of retirement to join the Colts for a 2025 playoff push, taking a personal sacrifice to do so, as this would delay his Hall of Fame eligibility for at least another 5 years. Therefore, the entire NFL world exploded in debate over whether a grandfather could actually still compete with the young guns. The backlash was massive, with critics saying he would be taking a spot from a younger player and that his arm was shot. But Rivers proved his dad's strength was real, stepping onto the field with the same fire and dadgum trash talk that made him a legend. Philip Rivers is a true one of one. Whether it's playing on a torn ACL or coming back at 44, he proved that passion for the game never truly dies. He is the ultimate dad of the NFL.